In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace the parking brake shoes on your Kia Sorento located behind the rear wheels. Let's get started. Using a 21mm socket, we're going to remove the lug nuts. Remove the tire. We're going to remove these two rotor bolts. Using a number 3 Phillips head, we're going to be removing it. Before we take the caliper apart, we want to go ahead and return the piston. I'm going to go ahead and set up a brake bleeder bottle. We're going to locate the bleeder for the caliper. If you have a cap, simply just grab it, move it to the side. In this case, we're going to use a 11mm wrench to crack it loose. We're going to place the wrench on it. Hook up our bleeder bottle. Crack it open. We're going to go ahead and compress the rotor. I'm going to use a small pry bar. Put it in between the rotor and the caliper. You're going to see some fluid. After you're done compressing the piston, simply close the bleeder. Remove your bottle, in this case the hose. Take the pry bar out and close the rubber piece. Remove the bottle. Now we're ready to remove the caliper. We're going to remove the caliper with the bracket, and for that we're going to remove these two 14mm bolts located in the back. Using a 14mm socket, I'm going to go ahead and crack them loose. Do the same on the top. Remove the bolts. And now that you have the bolts off, you want to make sure when you slide this off, you can put it on top of the upper control arm. When you do this, make sure you're not putting any pressure on the hose. Now that we have the caliper off the rotor, we're going to go ahead and tap around this area to break it loose from the hub. Now that we have the rotor loose, simply start pulling out and slide it out. Before we remove the old pads, I'm going to go ahead and spray some brake parts cleaner to minimize the brake dust. Before you do this, make sure you put either a container or something to catch the brake clean that's going to drip. First, we're going to remove the spring. For that, I'm going to be using needle nose pliers. You're going to simply pry on one side and slide it off. Before we do any of this, I will highly recommend to take a picture so you know how it goes back together. Now that we have the spring off, we're going to go ahead and remove the adjuster. For that, we're going to spread the pads a little bit and slide it off. Now we're going to go ahead and remove this clip, and for that I'm using needle nose pliers. We simply grab them and twist them. Once that's off, grab the clip. Take it out. Remove the pin. We're going to be reusing this hardware, so put it to the side and don't lose it. Now that we have this side loose, we're going to go ahead and twist it away from this side, and you can just simply slide it out like so. Now we can go ahead and remove the upper spring. And to remove this side, we're gonna repeat the same process. Now we're gonna go ahead and clean the surfaces before we install the new pads. For that, I'm gonna be using a wire brush. You wanna clean all the surfaces that the pad makes contact with. Before we go ahead and install the new brake shoes, we wanna make sure that we clean the adjuster. And for that, we're gonna go ahead and take it apart. We wanna grab some brake parts cleaner, and we're gonna go ahead and clean it off. Spray some. Wipe it off. And now we're gonna be ready to re-lube the adjuster. For that, we're gonna be using some silicone paste. Simply put some on the treads. And for this, because we're gonna be using brand new pads or brand new shoes, we wanna go ahead and put them all the way in, and we will adjust them once they're on the vehicle. Just like that. Now we're ready to put some silicone paste on the surfaces where the shoes themselves touch or make contact with the backing plate. So simply just put some on those areas. And we want to make sure we do on top too. Now we're gonna go ahead and install this side of the shoes. We're gonna go ahead and put the pin through. Put it on. And now we're gonna go ahead and install the clip to hold it in place. Line that up with the hole. Using a pair of needle nose pliers, we're gonna go ahead and push inwards. Once you have it on, you wanna make sure that you are locked in. And it should look like that. Now we're gonna go ahead and install the spring on one side of the shoe, like this. Clip it onto the opposite side, like that. And now we're gonna go ahead and by putting a hand over it to make sure that it doesn't shoot at your face, we're gonna be putting some pressure to extend it and lining it up. Once you have it in place, you want to make sure that you align the e-brake cable to these two grooves. Grab yourself a flathead screwdriver, being very careful because there is tension on the spring. And it should look something like that. Now we're ready to install this clip on the opposite side, the same way that we did this side. Now we can go ahead and install the adjuster the same way that it came out. Simply spread the shoes, line it up. Now we're ready for the bottom spring. For that, we're gonna hook it on one side, grab needle nose pliers, pull some tension, and clip it onto the other side. Before we install the rotor on, we want to make sure that we clean the surface of the hub. And for that, I'm going to be using a wire brush. Get between the studs. Once we have the surface clean, we want to go ahead and grab some brake parts cleaner, spray some on, wipe it off. And now we want to go ahead and apply some Never Seas. Wipe off any excess. And now we're ready to install the rotor. For this, we want to make sure we lined up the holes with the hub. Simply line it up, push it in. And now we're ready to install the 2 rotor screws. For that, we want to start by hand. And just get them snug. You don't have to go too tight on this. Now that we have the rotor in place, we're going to look for this hole on this side. And our adjuster is located right over here. So we're going to locate it or rotate it to where we can get to the adjuster. Using a flathead screwdriver, we're going to go ahead and adjust the shoes. We want to make sure there is a little bit of resistance when we move the rotor side to side. If you put it too tight, it will cause issues. So just keep that in mind. So for this, we're going to be rotating that adjuster that we installed earlier. We're going to listen for some clicks. You want to keep checking. In our case, that feels good. Yours might vary depending on the rotor. But in our case, that feels good. So we're going to go ahead and reinstall the cap. Simply push it in. We're going to go ahead and install the caliper bracket. Slide it in place. Install the bolts by hand. We're going to go ahead and bottom them out. And now we're going to torque them to 54 foot-pounds. Do the same on the top. Install the tire by lining up the holes. And start the lug nuts by hand. Get them snug. With the vehicle on the ground, we're going to go ahead and torque our wheel to 79.6 foot-pounds. And for that, we want to make sure we do a star pattern.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.